All right, how's everybody doing today? Hotep, hey, this is Michael M. Hotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecture writer, and historian. So it is Sunday, May 15th, 2022. And I wanted to come on just for a few minutes because I'm getting ready to teach an online class. I want to let you know about a new 10-week online class that we have starting up today. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. All right. And this class has a lot to do with what's going on today. An increase in hate crimes, a rise in white supremacy, the January 6, 2021 domestic terrorist attack. All those things are connected, and they're connected to the Civil War and Reconstruction. The attack on critical race theory, the banning of books. We just did the story of 54 books banned by Florida, 54 math books banned in the state of Florida because they claimed that they incorporated critical race theory, which they did not. This is an article from National Public Radio, NPR.org. Okay. So all these different things that we see are connected to the U.S. Civil War and the Reconstruction era. Okay, Reconstruction 1865 to 1877. So I'm going to do just want to let you know we have this class starting up. Normally it's 2 p.m. on Sundays, but we're starting a little late today. So as soon as I finish this broadcast, you can join me in the class at our online school. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, video clips, articles. We have the link here posted in the thread of the broadcast. I'm going to post it again for you. But one of the reasons why this information is so critical, if we look at this article here from Time Magazine that came out in January 12th, 2022, January 12th, 2022. And this was a little bit after the 1-year commemoration of the January 6th attack, which was 2021. A new report finds that 45 states are failing to teach students about the period that shaped race relations after the Civil War. You're talking about the Reconstruction era, okay? A new report finds that 45 states out of 50 states are failing to teach students about the period that shaped race relations after the Civil War. So when you look at this, it says in the aftermath of the insurrection, the January 6, 2021 insurrection, instigated by the traitor-in-chief Benedict Donald. At the U.S. Capitol, many leading historians drew parallels between the violence and the Reconstruction era. They drew parallels between the domestic terrorist violence that was political, that was trying to interrupt a constitutionally mandated political process to supply the electoral college votes because they did not like the outcome of the election. Leading historians drew parallels between the violence that we saw January 6, 2021 and the Reconstruction era, the period of political revolution directly following the U.S. Civil War, okay? Directly following the U.S. Civil War. The events we saw reminded me very much of the Reconstruction era and the overthrow of Reconstruction. Reconstruction ends in 1877, which was often accompanied or accomplished, I should say, by violent assaults on elected officials, said Eric Foner, Pulitzer Prize winning historian and author of Reconstruction, America's Unfinished Revolution, 1863 to 1877. He said this in an interview with the New Yorker magazine a week after the January 6th insurrection. Scholars say studying the aftermath of the Civil War can help put in context many of the seminal events in the U.S. in recent years, from the brutal murder of George Floyd by police in 2020 to the voter suppression laws enacted after African-American voters played a big role in helping Joe Biden and Kamala Harris be elected president and vice president in 2020. But despite the timeliness of the era in today's climate, despite the timeliness of the era of Reconstruction in today's climate, many students in America, in American schools, will not get a full education on Reconstruction until they go to college. Many students in American schools will not get a full education on Reconstruction until they go to college. But many of them are not going to go to college for various reasons. Okay. So the Civil War and Reconstruction is directly related to what's taking place today, and the racism that we see today, the voter suppression bills that Republicans are pushing in the state legislatures. All of this is connected, and this is connected to trying to maintain power. All right. So I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips. We start in 1803 with the Louisiana Purchase and the Haitian Revolution. And we deal with history leading up to the Civil War taking place, 1861, 1865, U.S. Civil War. We deal with the Reconstruction era, 1865, 1877. We deal with the Jim Crow era, World War I, World War II, Great Migration, Civil Rights Movement, the Black Power movement. Okay, to understand what happened to us after slavery ended, what were some of the laws and policies put in place that help put us in this predicament that we're in today, so we can better understand how we got here, so we can understand where we need to go from here. Okay, this is why this is extremely important. Classes on sale, $80, regularly $130. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. I just posted the link here, and we also have the information at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. So as soon as I finish this broadcast, we're going to start. We also have some bonus content for you to watch as well. When we look at the Louisiana Purchase, we know the Louisiana Purchase and the Haitian Revolution are connected. The U.S. got 828,000 square miles of land for less than 3 cents an acre from France. This doubled the territory of the U.S. at the time. This also increased the amount of land the U.S. had to grow crops, and it increased the demand for African slave labor as well, the Louisiana Purchase. Okay. And then we talk about things like the Missouri Compromise of 1820, which helped to organize the land that the U.S. got from the Louisiana Purchase. The U.S. carves out about 15 states out of the 828,000 square miles they get from France. All right. And we're going to see these events that lead up to the Civil War and how the U.S. is trying to keep a civil war from taking place. Okay. Things like the Missouri Compromise of 1820, Kansas-Nebraska Act 1854. They're trying to keep a civil war, many of them trying to keep a civil war from taking place. So we deal with the Civil War, 1861, 1865. We do the Reconstruction era as well, where they're bringing the southern former Confederate states back into the Union. They're rebuilding the U.S., but also integrating African Americans, about 4 million African Americans, former slaves, into society. So they're gaining rights, they're gaining civil rights, voting rights, going to school, acquiring land, still facing discrimination in various ways, but acquiring land, building black townships like we see in Oklahoma. There were only over 50 black townships in Oklahoma. Getting elected to public office. There are about 2,000 African-American men elected to public office during the Reconstruction era. You're even going to have 2 U.S. senators. You're going to have about 16 in the U.S. Congress, a little more than 16 in the U.S. Congress. Okay. And then we're going to see this backlash against African-American voting rights, especially after that. We see the backlash during Reconstruction, but especially after Reconstruction ends. And we're going to see things like what happens at the Mississippi State Convention in 1890, where they rewrite the state constitution to impose poll taxes and literacy tests. And this became known as the Mississippi Plan. And this was adopted by other southern states this became known as the Mississippi Plan. This was adopted by other southern states to rewrite their state constitutions to impose poll taxes and literacy tests, to suppress the African-American vote African-American elected officials out of office. These white supremacist legislatures, these white supremacists in the state legislature could take back control of the state government. Okay. And what happened in Mississippi in 1890, when they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests and rewrote their state constitution, this became adopted by other southern states, other former Confederate states. South Carolina, 1895, Louisiana, 1898, Alabama, 1901, Georgia, North Carolina. They're all going to do the same thing. All right. And this is why you needed a Civil Rights Act of 1965 to erase the laws that were put in place because of Florida in 1889. Florida was the first state to have poll taxes, 1889. What you see what's taking place in Florida right now. Okay. Not only did Florida, not only did Governor DeSantis in Florida sign off on a district map that will break up 2 black districts, District 5 and District 10. Okay. But also you have the banning of 54 math textbooks because they say that they advocate, they incorporate critical race theory, which they don't. All right. This just more culture wars, more attacks on things that pertain to African Americans, Latinos, etc. The Florida Education Department has rejected 54 mathematics textbooks from its K-12 curriculum, citing reasons spanning the inclusion of critical race theory to Common Core learning concepts. Rejected books make up a record 41% of the 132 books submitted for review, the Florida Department of Education said in a statement. Of them, 28 were rejected because they incorporated prohibited topics or unsolicited strategies, including critical race theory, the statement said. But they can't prove that critical race theory was being taught in the books. Critical race theory wasn't being taught in the books. 12 books were rejected because they did not meet Florida's benchmark standards, while 14 books were rejected because they both included prohibited topics and failed to meet curriculum standards. Let's see here. So the story dealing with Florida and the rewriting the congressional districts, the gerrymandering that's taking place. It's important to understand that Florida was the first state to have poll taxes in 1889. This story right here, we talked about this on the African History Network show. civil rights group filed lawsuit over Florida congressional map signed by Governor Ron DeSantis, April 22nd, 2022. Now, a district judge just ruled that this map is unconstitutional. State of Florida is going to appeal it to the Florida Appeals Court. So we'll see what. A coalition of civil rights groups has filed the first lawsuit in Florida against the recently enacted congressional map put forward by GOP Governor Ron DeSantis that eliminates 2 districts represented by Black Democrats while giving Republicans the advantage in as many of 28 seats. The GOP-controlled Florida legislature approved the map in a special session this week along party lines. DeSantis said he signed the map into law Friday. The lawsuit filed in state court in Leon County alleges that the map is a Republican gerrymander and violates the Fair Districts Amendment of the Florida State Constitution by diminishing the power of Black voters. Well, Florida was the first state to have poll taxes in 1889 to diminish the power of Black voters. This is why it's important to understand this history so you can see this stuff when it's coming and stop it. The plaintiffs are asking the court to rule that the map or individual districts violate the Fair Districts Amendment and to order the adoption of a new congressional map. The challenge was filed by several Florida voters, as well as the League of Women Voters Florida, Black Voters Matter, Florida Rising, and Equal Ground Florida. The 2 districts, District 5, Representative Al Lawson's district, and District 10, Representative Val Demings, African-American woman. They're both members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Their districts are being targeted and broken up in a way so that they may remain Democratic, but unlikely to have African-American representation. Their districts are being targeted. And Val Demings is running for U.S. Senate for Florida right now as well. Okay, so all of this stuff is connected. This is why it's important to understand history and what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. Okay, so you can join us for this class. I teach this on Sundays. Class number 1 starts up today. I actually had it scheduled to start Sunday, May 8th, but I didn't realize that was Mother's Day until we were about to teach the class. So I did a brief introduction on Saturday, May 8th. So the day is the first day of class. So we'll do these classes 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They were running late, but the class is on sale. $80, regular $100. This is a 10-week online history class I teach. I showed you some of the slides already. We do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips. This is from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. You've probably never seen a class like this before. Even after the course is over with, you'll still have access to the full class. You can still go back and watch it as many times as you want to. So a year from now, you can go back and watch the entire class. All right. And there's already archived content for you to watch as soon as you register as well. Okay. So you can register for this class. You can join me in class right now because I'm about to teach the course. I'm about to teach class number 1. And then we'll be on live tonight for the African History Network. We'll talk about the Buffalo shooting. All this is connected. Buffalo shooter radicalized online. White supremacist groups and things like this online, radicalized during the pandemic, during the shutdown, the coronavirus pandemic. Okay. And inscribed on one of the guns he had, it said, "Here's your reparations." He had a racial slur on another gun inscribed on one of the assault rifles that I saw. They showed it on MSNBC. It said, "Here's your reparations." I'm gonna break this stuff down on my radio show tonight, and we broadcast here on Facebook and YouTube when I do my show live. It's Sunday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the African History Network show. Also Mondays, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to midnight as well. Okay. All right. And if you'd like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $, the AHN show through Cash App, $, the AHN show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. So we're going to talk about the replacement theory. We're going to talk about is white supremacist manifesto, how all this stuff is connected to people like Tucker Carlson on Fox News, the Fox News Network, who have been pushing the replacement theory, that white people that people are trying to replace white people with immigrants in this country, things like this. All this stuff is connected. And this has its roots also in the U.S. Civil War and the Reconstruction era. That's why it's important to understand this history, because when you understand this history, you can see this stuff coming and you can take correct action. And you have a lot of Republicans who have been sending out these racist dog whistles, some of them advocating, so you have these extreme Republicans advocating nonsensical replacement theories, all different types of things like this. They had to be voted out of office and kept out of office. You can't have people like that in office, because that puts them in a better position to harm you. Just absolutely ridiculous. Okay. A lot of Republicans are silent today because they know they have contributed to white supremacist attacks like what just happened in Buffalo, New York. They know they know their rhetoric has contributed to that. And some of them were involved in planning the January 6th, 2021 insurrection that we started out talking about in the beginning here of this broadcast, and how the January 6th, 2021 insurrection is connected to the Civil War and Reconstruction. Okay. And how toward the end of Reconstruction, you had the Republicans who largely abandoned African Americans. Okay. Towards it with the compromise of 1877. All right. Rutherford B. Hayes, the Republican candidate, became president, and he agreed to remove the remaining Union troops out of the South, who were protecting, to a certain extent, the rights of the newly freed African Americans. It was an agreement between the Democrats and the Republicans. The compromise of 1877, which ended Reconstruction. And what this did was this allowed the white supremacists to take back control of these southern state legislatures and then impose Jim Crow laws. Okay, so I'm gonna post a link here again. You can register for this class. If you have any questions, also you can email me, ahnshow at africanhistorynetwork.com, ahnshow at africanhistorynetwork.com. If you've taken any of my online classes in the past, you'll get a 50% discount. Okay. And also at our website, we have a bundle pack, so you can register for all 3 classes that I teach: Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968, and also Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. So we have a bundle pack where you can register for all 3 of those classes. The bundle pack is $120, but if you've taken any of my classes before, email me and you'll get a 50% discount. We'll post this here. All right. Okay, guys, look, we have to get out of here. Remember the African History Network. We focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now it's correct your own behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Be sure to watch the show tonight. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Give us a like on these broadcasts also. All right. And Thanks for joining us. Register for the class, and we'll see you in class. Okay. All right. Take care. Peace. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.